Let's talk about one of my patients. She's 58 from Greater Manchester, never smoked a cigarette in her life, walks her dog every day, rain or shine. She sat in my clinic holding her GP letter and said, Dr. Paul, they must have the wrong person. I never smoked. Her spirometry said otherwise. Fixed airflow obstruction, breathless on the stairs, a winter cough that never fully left. She thought this was her fault. And I had to tell her the truth. It wasn't. Up to 1 in 5 people with COPD never smoked a cigarette. Not a rare exception, a genuine coin flip. 24% in the US, and in a major 2024 global analysis, as high as 41% patients have never smoked. Most people panic the moment they hear that diagnosis of COPD. How can I have a smoker's disease if I have never smoked? Here is what you actually need to know. There are 5 scientific triggers behind COPD that have nothing to do with cigarettes. And by the end of this video, you will know which one applies to you and the one blood test most GPs never order. I am Dr. Suman Paul, consultant respiratory physician working in the NHS and private practice in the UK, and a principal investigator for UK respiratory clinical trials. Quick disclaimer before you go further, I am a doctor, but I am not your doctor. This is educational only. If you are severely breathless at rest right now, call 999 and drop a comment for me now. Tell me which trigger you suspect applies to you. Type gene, job, childhood, or home. COPD is a long term airflow blockage. Your airways have narrowed and your lung tissue has lost its natural spring. Whether you smoked tells us one cause, not the whole story. Three things change everything: your genes, how your lungs grew as a child, and what you have breathed in over a lifetime. If your risk was partly decided before you were 10 years old, that might sound like bad news. It isn't, because a lung test today still changes your future. Let me show you exactly why. The first trigger is the one most doctors never test for, and it's the one most likely to run in your family without anyone knowing. You make a protective protein in your liver called alpha 1 antitrypsin. Think of it as a shield stopping your own lung enzymes from digesting your lung tissue. About 1 in 2,500 people in the UK carry the severe form of this disease called PIZZ. Worldwide, around 235,000 people have it, half of them in Europe. In the UK, it accounts for roughly 1% of all COPD and up to 2% of emphysema. A small percentage, but if it's you, it matters enormously because it's treatable and it runs in families. Here is the shocking part. In the UK, only 2.2% of COPD patients are ever tested for this condition, which is alpha 1 antitrypsin deficiency. But when we do test, 23.7% come back positive. We are missing it routinely. If you develop emphysema as a young person, typically less than 40 years old, have a family history of lung or liver disease, or have COPD as a non smoker, NICE guidance says you should be offered testing. It's a simple blood test. Knowing doesn't just help you, it tells your children and siblings to get checked too. A gene doesn't mean fate, it means we monitor and protect your lungs earlier. If this is already making more sense than your last appointment did, that's exactly why I make these videos. Subscribe because I break down complex respiratory problems in plain English. I also run a free lung health community with a weekly newsletter at no cost. The link is in the description box below. Now, let me introduce you to a second patient because his story shows a completely different set of triggers, and together they complete the picture. He is 62, from Liverpool, never smoked either, but he spent 25 years working around dust and fumes. and he breathed something every day at home most people assume is harmless. His story starts long before his first job, though, because your lungs don't finish growing until your mid 20s. Severe childhood infections, premature birth, childhood asthma, or growing up breathing high air pollution, even before birth, can all mean your maximum lung size was smaller than it should have been. Lancet research shows impaired lung growth is a direct driver of COPD, even without a single cigarette. One 2020 analysis put it simply: lung development may explain why some never smokers get COPD and some heavy smokers never do. Your risk at 60 was partly shaped before your first day of work. We can't change childhood, but we can protect what you have now, which is exactly why a lung function test today is so powerful. But his lungs took a second hit as an adult. In never smokers with COPD, 26 to 53% can be attributed to workplace exposures, vapors, gases, dust, and fumes. The NHS lists it directly as a recognized cause: construction dust, farming grain dust, textile fibers, welding fumes, hairdressing sprays, even years of secondhand smoke in pubs and hospitality before the ban came in. I always ask patients like him, what did you do between 20 and 50? Were you ever given a mask to wear at your workplace? Did your cough get better on holiday? If the answer is yes, tell your GP full job history, not just retired. It completes the picture for your records and for your family's risk too. There are two more triggers left, and one of them explains a pattern I hear in clinic almost every single week: a childhood diagnosis resurfacing decades later. Trigger 4 is what you have breathed at home. Globally, 3 billion people breathe biomass smoke, wood and coal burning indoors, raising COPD risk 2.6 times. And in women exposed to wood smoke specifically, risk is 3.2 times higher. The WHO attributes 23% of COPD deaths worldwide to household air pollution. In the northwest England, it's rarely a wooden stove. It's damp and mold in older housing stock, gas hobs without ventilation, candles and incense daily, strong cleaning sprays, all breathed in the same kitchen for 20 years. Open the window when the gas hob is on. Fix damp quickly. If you cook with gas in a small flat, an extractor fan matters more than you would think. Trigger 5 is asthma history. If you had asthma as a child, even mild, your airway walls may have gradually remodeled over decades, becoming thicker, less stretchy. That fixed narrowing can look exactly like COPD on a spirometry test later in life. I had COPD as a kid. Now they say COPD at 60. That's not a mistake. It's the long term effect of remodeling, and understanding it changes how we help you. So now you know all five triggers. But there is one more thing almost every patient misunderstands the moment they see their result. And it's the part that actually matters most for your day to day life. We use gold classification, which is an international classification system, A, B, and E, to guide your treatment. Group A means fewer symptoms and no flare up. Group B means more symptoms like breathlessness, but still no flare ups. And E means one or more flare ups in last 12 months, or at least one hospital admission for COPD. Most patients assume their COPD stage is a stage of dying. It's not a big deal in the way people fear. It simply tells us which inhaler pathway to use and the treatment pathways. For maintenance, we don't use a reliever inhaler alone every day. That's a rescue treatment, not a controller. For stable COPD, we use bronchodilator combinations, and if there are flare ups, we typically add inhaled steroids on top of bronchodilators. That's the NICE guidance for the UK as well as the GOLD guidance internationally. And your GOLD group simply tells us where you sit on it, nothing more. The group can improve as flare ups fall. Our job is to move you down that risk, not to hand you a label and walk away. So, here is exactly what to do with everything you have just learned. Ask your doctor directly, could I have my alpha 1 antitrypsin level checked? NICE recommended for early or never smoker COPD. Take your full job history and childhood lung history with you, not just retired or I was fine as a kid. Get a full lung test with reversibility so you know precisely whether you sit in gold group A, B, or E. And check your home, ventilate when cooking, treat damp quickly, and avoid smoky rooms. My first patient had a mildly low alpha 1 antitrypsin level, not severe deficiency, but enough to explain what was happening. We optimized her onto right inhalers, gave her a clear flare up plan, and her doctor got tested too. The second patient had occupational airflow blockage layered on top of early life lung growth effects. So we focused on protection against infections and pulmonary rehabilitation. Both of these patients were Gold Group B. And as I said, the letter is not a big deal. It simply tells us how to keep them well. If you never smoked and you have just been told you have COPD, or a GP has never mentioned testing your alpha 1 antitrypsin level, that 20% statistic isn't just a number, it's a peace of mind. It means you are not at fault and there is a clear next step. If you are in the Northwest near Liverpool or Manchester and want a same week specialist respiratory assessment with a plan you can take straight back to your GP, the booking link is in the description. No GP referral needed. Please share this with anyone who has ever said, but I never smoked, and join the free lung health community and newsletter. Link also in the description. I'm Dr. Suman Paul. Take care of your lungs. They are the only ones you have. See you in the next video.